Call it like we see it. In the eyes of most people, regardless of an acquittal, O.J. Simpson is a murderer.
Where the f do you niggas come from? Where the f do you niggas come from? That's what Kendrick's talking about. They are not like us. They are not like you.
And so here we go again, back with another one. Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And before I get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. As you guys may already know, your boy, your man, Stephen A. Smith did his usual buck dancing for you know who.
This is not that case. This is the BET Awards. This is a celebration of blackness, of black culture, of black entertainment, of black excellence.
And Stephen A. Smith is a perfect example of why a lot of people within the black community are talking about delineating, making sure that when we have people within the media that look like us but are not us are called out, and making sure that people know that they don't represent black Americans. They don't represent so-called foundational black Americans. They're not like us. They may look like us, they may talk like us, they may walk like us, but they're not us.
And when you do something like this, you got folks outside the community see that shit. TMZ talking about it, NBC talking about it, CNBC talking about it, CBS talking about it, USA Today talking about it, PBS, everybody but PBS. When that kind of stuff happens, how do you think that benefits us?
And the reason why I say that Stephen A. Smith is a Johnny-come-lately, because black Americans, we know our history. And we know that regardless of how we act, regardless of the positions that we hold, regardless of the titles that we hold, regardless of the amount of money that we hold, we know at the end of the day that in a lot of people's eyes, we're still a ninja. And what's better to be? Black Americans are okay with that. We're good with that. Our ancestors spent over 100 years after slavery trying to prove themselves, trying to pick themselves up by the bootstraps. And what did they do? They spit in our faces. They put water hoses on us. They put dogs on us. And we still held our heads high. We still fought for equality, not just for ourselves, but for everybody. We fought for people who looked like us to come over here, thinking that they were our brothers and our sisters, and a lot of them are. A lot of them are. Let me go ahead and say that. But somehow the ones that get elevated are the ones that think like Stephen A. Smith. They think that they can elevate themselves by being bootlicks.
This Stephen A. Smith, man, I don't know. Where do you niggas come from? Do they groom you niggas? Where the fuck do you come from? You mad because BET is celebrating OJ? Who else gonna celebrate him? Are you fucking stupid? He was found innocent, nigga. In the court of law, the white law. But your nose is gonna go on talking about how, are you crazy? You would have did this, you would have did that. Where the f do you niggas come from? Where the f do you niggas come from? I've never seen some lazy house niggas. You ain't even a house nigga that's sucking the house niggas. That's what Kendrick's talking about. They are not like us. They are not like you.
This is the exact reason why we want to separate ourselves. It is not to say that other groups of people who come to America and represent themselves well don't have our respect. It's not to say that, but it's individuals like this. Individuals like this who want to go out and represent us in this manner need to be called out. And they're being called out, and people are starting to wake up to it, because Stephen A. Smith is not from here. His lineage is not from here. He's a Johnny-come-lately. I believe his ancestry goes back to the Virgin Islands. No matter how well you speak, no matter what school you go to, it doesn't matter. And this is something that Black Americans are well aware of. We don't live our lives to try to have the perfect image and to try to live up to what expectations that we're supposed to be. Because we know at the end of the day, in the eyes of the media, they're going to show the same images, and they're going to show the images that they want to. They're going to show the images of the stereotypes of what they believe that we're like, of what they want to believe that a lot of us are like. And so it doesn't matter to us. We don't care. Those days are over. Those days are long gone for foundational Black Americans. We could give a damn. We're concerned with living our lives, having the respect of one another, serving our God, serving our country, and being the best mothers and fathers of civilization that we can be. There's probably no other icon that is internationally recognized as a hero than Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King has the respect of the entire world. But yet, every Martin Luther King Day, there's a lot of people throughout this country that disrespect him. Every year.
But a San Antonio statue to honor the civil rights leader is causing controversy tonight.
An online protest even calls this statue an embarrassment, and organizers say they want it replaced.
Good morning on ESPN Radio, talking football with you on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. So glad you've chosen to start your day and your week.
Hey, I get on the street, I see Martin Luther King. I shouldn't have said it. Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King Jr. Park.
Viewers in Rochester, New York were stunned.
King Jr. came out too fast. And as that did, I crunched two words together. And I want you to think about this.
We're talking about a man that gave his life for equality, for nonviolence. Talking about the perfect Negro, but he wasn't good enough. And so that's a perfect example. It doesn't get any better than that. And so it's not in Stephen A's makeup to stand up for what's right, for injustice. Unless it's a situation like George Floyd where the whole world is outraged and he has the okay to be upset. Unless it's a situation like that, he's somebody that's not going to have a backbone because he doesn't come from the same lineage. He doesn't have the same DNA running through his body. His whole makeup, from his own words, is he wakes up every day thinking about how he can make his boss happy, how he can get more money. We're past those days. Those days have come and gone for us. We're on to the next frontier, like Star Trek Next Generation. We're getting up out of here. But people like Stephen A. Smith that are still caught up in this materialism will always have a price, will always have that hanging over his head, because that's what he came here for. He didn't come here to fight. He came to get his money. He came to get the bag by any means necessary. Some of us came to liberate. Some of us came to fight. Some of us came to uplift, to bring life. But he doesn't come from the lineage. And I want y'all to go ahead and listen to something that Stephen A. Smith said. This is probably one of the most important things that he kind of snuck in here. And it tells you all that you need to know about a Stephen A. Smith.
But this stuff with OJ, it can't get much more classless than that. And by the way, it also begs the question right now. If you're the Oscars, you gonna celebrate Woody Allen?
You goddamn right they're gonna celebrate Woody Allen. Make no doubt about it. Just like they celebrate Elvis Presley, who's basically R. Kelly. They just made a movie about Elvis, the King. That's what they call him, right? You goddamn right they're gonna celebrate Woody Allen, just like they celebrate Robert E. Lee. They got schools all across this country named after him. So don't try to shame us for celebrating our heroes just because you come from a place that don't have any. You got some nerve.
What are we gonna do if Bill Cosby's name comes up?
And there it is. There it is, already gearing up and already preparing, regardless that he was acquitted on all charges, not guilty on all charges that should have never been brought up. And there was no technicality, like a lot of people like to insinuate. If you read the facts of the case, there was no technicality. He never admitted to guilt, but yet people like Stephen A. Smith are already on board, already falling in line to do what he's told and to do what he's set out to do the bidding. And so this is why foundational Black Americans are talking about delineating. These individuals don't represent us. These individuals, not all, but mainly the ones in the mainstream media, they don't have the heart to represent us. They don't have the mindset to represent us. And shout out to my followers who are not foundational Black Americans and do have the heart. But at the end of the day, we still have to delineate to be able to see who's who. And if you're with us, you're with us. And if you're not, you're not. And on that note, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it. But make sure you guys go ahead and drop a like before you bounce. And make sure you go ahead and keep the conversation going on below in the comment section. And I'm going to try to be as active as I can in there, especially on this one. I want to hear what you guys got to say. And as usual, peace and chaos.